Woot woot, it's Friday. Oh my goodness, you guys are gonna just absolutely love this interview that we have for you tonight. We got the one and only J. Alex Brinson coming on the show
Yes.
from All Rise, most notably right now. But more importantly, he comes on and we get deep.
We do get deep. I mean, he even actually turns the tables on us at the beginning of this interview
Yeah.
and kind of interviews us. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? But yeah, we've talked about it teasing this thing that it's probably our most personal interview.
Yeah.
That we really got into on our side of it and his side. So really excited to, and he wasn't scared to talk about issues either.
No.
So
He was not. He was not. If you guys remember Denham Richards, compare it to that. But this time we got to talk a little bit more.
yeah,
We love Denham Richards' interview. Don't get us wrong, but man, that man had a goal. But
Yeah, he
so
did.
did J Alex. So did J Alex. But that interview is later on in the show, and I know people are much anticipating that. But now let's get a little crazy. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. Holy moly, episode 129 this week.
Yes,
1 week away.
from 1:30.
Dude, it's insane.
It is insane. It is just flying by.
It really is.
Flying by.
Absolutely insane. This year is like damn near over.
It is, and we should say before we get into anything, we're having some fun and everything, but not at the expense of what today is.
Yes.
9/11, the anniversary of, and
Never forget, man.
Never forget, man. Thoughts go out to everybody, all the families, everybody involved who lost loved ones that day, and I don't think this country will ever get over that.
No,
So
I agree. It's one of those situations where you literally, everybody who you come in contact with today, you're like, you ask them, where were you?
Right.
You know?
And but we wanted to put that out there. We are all about having fun, and you have to keep moving forward, but not ever forgetting.
Yes, agreed, and honoring that. It's just absolutely insane. Definitely
is.
a very memorable moment. And we also want to, because everybody knows, I mean, obviously it's shook up our whole world right now, the COVID-19 pandemic, and we're experiencing a little bit of, I guess you could say, symptoms and things happening like that. So we've gone back into quarantine. We're doing the show socially distanced this week and possibly the upcoming weeks as well. So for the time being, for the YouTube video, we'll still put it out on YouTube, but it will not be recorded like we normally do.
That's
on
right.
tape. So I just want to put that out there, give you all the heads up. If you want to listen to it on YouTube after the fact, after it drops on podcast platforms, it'll still be available on Saturday, but you will not be able to see us. So, I know a lot of people like to see us.
That's true. And maybe some people don't, so
Yeah.
maybe you'll be happy about that.
Exactly.
I don't know. But,
Exactly.
we do still have the website, though, and all
Yeah,
that
it's
good
all
stuff.
there.
Yeah.
It's all there. And you guys know your host with the most, myself, J-Lo Fantastic, and the one and only Mal.
What's up?
Getting through it, man. Getting through it. We got a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of Disney news. There's some stuff going on with the Oscars that we're going to dive deep into and give our opinions on that. There's a lot of stuff with that.
Oh,
so
yeah. Oh, yeah.
we'll try to make it as short as possible, but still get you all the factual information out there. But you guys know, before we get this thing started, we got to plug our merchandise website.
Absolutely.
The one and only www.crazyantmedia.com. Be sure to head over there and start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. Click on the merchandise tab, and we just got anything and everything for your sister, your grandma, your brother, your sibling,
Right.
anything like that. We got you covered, man. Start getting a little crazy with your Crazy Ant gear.
Was that
Yeah,
like
right.
your warm up for the names coming
Yeah,
up?
right.
We got some doozies.
That's
so.
what it was. That's what it was, man. But I mean, all right, let's get this thing kicked off with the Oscars. We've been teasing about it, and just it's a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of controversial stuff.
Yeah.
We talked about this whole inclusive initiative that they're trying to kick off over the next 5 years or so. Well, they've laid out some of those requirements now. And the most significant one that where the people are talking about the most is the qualifications now to be eligible for Best Picture. Man, in order to get nominated now, you have a lot of stuff you have to meet. First and foremost, you have to have at least one of these: Asian, Hispanic or Latino, Black African American, Indigenous, Native American, Alaskan Native, Middle Eastern, North African, Native Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander as a lead or significant supporting character in your movie in order to get nominated for Best Picture. One of those races has to be represented in the lead role or major supporting in order to get nominated for Best Picture. That's huge.
It is.
But they're not done. They're
Oh, no,
not
not even
done.
close.
No. With all those ethnicities that we just mentioned, okay? Additionally, for production and marketing jobs, you have to employ women, LGBTQ plus members, one of the following of the races that we mentioned, people with cognitive and or physical disabilities. For example, people who are deaf, hard of hearing, or might require, I don't know, assistance, maybe wheelchair bound or something. At least 30% of the actors or in secondary roles have to be represented by one of those groups, and at least 30% of your crew has to be represented by one of those groups. You don't have to meet all three of the requirements. Like, you don't have to have one of those groups represented by 30% crew. You don't have to have 1% or one of your supporting characters represented 30%
Right.
and the lead. But you have to have one of those three in order to qualify. So tricky,
Yeah.
and controversial.
It is. It is. I feel like, one, it's not too much to ask. I feel like it's good and bad at the same time. One, it's not too much to ask, but then at the same time, like, I mean, of course, coming for the future and like forthcoming, I feel like you're obviously gonna think about this when you're crewing up and when you're casting people. But like, I don't know, what happened to it being a story driven thing? Like, I don't know, maybe, but it's a good thing though. I feel like it's good because you shouldn't necessarily write a actor or a character as this is a white role, this is a black role. So I think in a sense it's a good thing, but also in a sense I think it should be more about the storytelling.
I do. I think the ones who are going to have the hardest time are the creators themselves, just because the feedback that they or criticism that they may take writing to these certain requirements.
Right.
And I just go back to recent stories that we talked about with Scarlett Johansson or Zendaya, where people freaked out when Zendaya was cast as Mary Jane in Spider-Man. Well, Mary Jane's not black. What are you doing hiring a black actress to play that? Like what you were talking about with, it's a good thing to not have roles written as a black or a white.
Right.
So, and look, Zendaya killed it. She was
Killed
just
it.
awesome
So
as Mary Jane. And then the other example would be that we talked about recently that was such controversy is when Scarlett Johansson was going to play a transgender, and they said, why are you getting a straight non-trans person to play a trans person?
Right.
So, and the heat that went down with all of that. So I think that no matter what you do with these requirements or these type things, it's all meant for all the right reasons.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, I think that we're going to continue to see pushback. We're going to continue to see people react in negative ways until we can get it all figured out.
Yeah.
So I hope that the creators are aware of that going in.
Yeah.
I hope they don't just make decisions based on, I have to do this because of these rules.
Exactly.
And that they stick with their creativity and just the best people get the roles.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's what we're going to talk a lot about in this industry news segment. It's all about appointing the best people to the right position. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting, man. It's definitely going to be interesting, and it'll be interesting if these rules also apply for different categories in the future. But
and the Academy themselves.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it, guy. Inclusivity in the Academy ranks,
the voting,
is and members is not what they're trying to force onto
Exactly.
the project. So maybe you should look in house and work on that as much as you're trying to work on the project requirements as well.
Agreed.
Just saying.
Agreed, man. Agreed. But heading over to Disney, they are making some moves. Disney's 20th Television has promoted Erin May to VP of Drama Development. She will be responsible for identifying and developing talent and seeing projects from the pitch series all across all platforms they got going on. May is currently working on Hulu's upcoming drama Dope Sick.
Yeah, this is a good move, man. I mean, she's had a pretty extensive career, and she's been the main driving force behind a lot of hits. So this seems to be a smart move, and I like the idea of having one person in charge from the time the project is pitched all the way till it's being literally in production and filmed.
Right.
I like the idea of one person guiding that project. So this is a smart move. Disney knows what they're doing, and
Yeah.
dope sick.
Yeah.
I mean that's a project to be jumping on right now, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
look at this shit. Fucking Caitlin Dever is now set to star opposite of Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the 8-episode limited series.
Yep.
So,
And Peter Skarsgård was announced. He's joining the cast. So I mean, this is an insane cast, y'all.
Exactly.
And Danny Strong.
our boy.
Yes, going to be show running, and I mean, I told him the other day. I said I already see Emmy nominations coming
For sure.
Like, there's no way you can have this cast and then have Danny running it and not have Emmy nominations.
Exactly.
It's going to happen.
Little
so.
Quinny. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back and listen to our interview with him.
Yes. And for anybody who doesn't know, Dope Sick, it's about the opioid crisis in America.
Yeah.
It's going to deep dive into that. And I mean, come on, Keaton.
Right.
Deep diving into the opioid crisis with Caitlin Dever? What? Go watch Caitlin Dever on Justified.
Right.
You'll see what I'm talking about, Emmy.
Hell
It's going to
yeah.
be Emmys.
Hell yeah. More exciting news happening at Disney and Disney Plus. Falcon and the Winter Soldier has begun filming in Atlanta again this week. Super excited. I mean, we all know freaking it got halted, and also reported WandaVision is also back as well. So
Yep. They only have a little bit left to shoot, so they're shooting in LA, and that's supposed to, I guess, start next week with the actual filming. But yeah, I'm super pumped. I don't know, still no date on when they're going to appear on Disney Plus because of the delays. We have no idea when that will happen, but even just the thought of they're back to filming and wrapping things up so that they can get into post and get some, I mean, that's exciting because man, people have been waiting for this stuff forever.
Exactly.
I mean,
super ready for Marvel Studios to start putting out some television content because, I mean, they've definitely been lacking on that, and we talked about that. But, I mean, I'm super excited because I can only imagine these are going to be like 45-minute films, basically.
Oh, yeah, definite.
So, other things happening at Disney and ABC Signature. Man, this show is getting so many spin-offs. Blackish is getting another spin-off put in development, Oldish.
Yes.
And it's going to star Keena Barris and Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes, and Jennifer Lewis.
And Jennifer Lewis.
Yeah.
Coming from Keena Barris.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, this show is literally every character is spinning off into their own show.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to be left on Blackish, but
Right.
it's going to be, I mean, fantastic. So, and it's, I guess, going to follow the lives of the parents.
Yep.
And they move into a new community, and it's basically like starting over, enjoying their seniorhood, starting all over again. So that'll be interesting.
Definitely. And I mean, we talked about this one a couple weeks ago. Well, actually, a couple months ago. I mean, it's been a while since they announced it. The Doogie Howser reboot. Now they got an official name, and Disney Plus has given the official series order for, I don't want to butcher this one, so that's all you.
Doogie Kamealoa.
Yeah.
Doogie Kamealoa MD.
Yeah,
And it's obviously the series is going to have a mixed race teenage girl from Hawaii as the lead character, and the actress playing her is mixed race from Hawaii. So perfect casting.
Right.
And it's basically going to be the same premise as the original Doogie. It's going to be a teenage doctor who has a mentor at the hospital, and her family is trying to deal with her in this career, and yet she's just a teenage girl also trying to be just a teenage girl. So very much along the lines of the original show.
Yeah.
Who knows? Are we going to see cameos? We don't know. But,
I hope so.
But it's official now, though. Disney Plus has picked it up. It's going to series. Like you said, it's got the name. It's got the lead. Boom. There we go.
Exactly. All it needs is Neil Patrick Harris. Just saying.
We'll see.
Just saying. Eva Longoria has... Yeah, no, maybe.
Longoria.
Yes, everybody knows. Has re-upped a 3-year deal, first look deal with 20th Television, and her unbelievable entertainment. She has several projects already in the works with the studio, so this only makes sense.
She's had a long time relationship with ABC also since Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
I mean, she's done all kinds of stuff with them, so this only makes sense that she would re-up a contract. I mean, at least Disney's smart in keeping people in-house.
Yeah.
You got successful relationships, keep building them. So.
Exactly. I mean, they lost out on the Royals, but
That's it's true. Bye-bye. But they have Eva Longoria, so,
exactly.
And keeping with, like I said, if you have an established relationship, keep it. Derek Huff This everybody's excited about this. They should be, because it's about the only exciting thing for the show.
Right.
I'm just gonna say it. Derek Huff is returning to Dancing with the Stars, but this time as a judge.
Ooh.
Yeah. For you guys who don't know Huff, Derek, not Julianne, not his sister, but Derek is the most winning dancer on the show.
Oh, wow.
In the show's history. He's won the most times, and he'll be joining Carrie Ananaba and Bruno Tonioli as the judges. Why? Because of Corona. Len Goodman, head judge Len Goodman, everybody's favorite Englishman, he's stuck in England. He can't travel because of Corona restrictions. So Derek is stepping in to take his place as the head judge for this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Julianne did it for a little while. She stepped in and was a judge for a little while. So I don't know. I think people are excited about it just because Derek is so popular with the show.
Yeah.
Len will still do video type stuff and make comments and critiques, but will not be involved with the actual judging of the dance.
I see.
So Len will still be there, guys.
Yeah.
He just,
Anybody named Derek, I'm behind. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. Oh, man, this sucks. This really freaking sucks.
I mean...
Again.
Yes.
Everybody wants to see this, just like Black Widow. But guess what, guys? Wonder Woman 1984 being moved again.
Yeah. December 13th of last year is when it was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Then they moved it back to November of last year. Then they moved it forward to Memorial Day of this year. No. Then they moved it forward again to October of this year. Now, it's moving again. It's not coming out on October 2nd, guys. Now, Christmas.
This is the new Tenet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the new Tenet.
Seriously. They said that the studio, this decision was made by the studio quite a while ago, and that they're just now announcing it, and the exhibitors knew the move was coming as well. They said they're basing this on the success that they saw Aquaman have in this same time period around the Christmas holiday. And they feel like this will be its best chance to have success at the box office, which is what they want, because the major markets are still closed. New York, LA, and they're hoping to be open by December.
Yeah, hopefully.
Now, they say all that, and yet they announced also that Dune, which they just released that kick-ass trailer for, is going to stay in the October time slot. So they're saying a bullshit excuse about why they're moving Wonder Woman, or they're saying they don't give a shit what Dune does at the box office.
Right.
Like, either way, which one is it? Because why would you keep Dune if you're worried about box office success and you're moving Wonder Woman to ensure box office success? Why do you keep Dune in October?
Yeah.
Just saying.
It doesn't make much sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But that thing was trending like crazy over
It
the
was.
weekend.
It was
insane, man. Absolutely insane. Other things that are insane, Harry Styles has replaced Shia LaBeouf in Olivia Wilde's upcoming thriller, Don't Worry, Darling. I mean, it makes sense, though, because this guy is super busy right now, and it says he departed from the project due to scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, there was no other crazy, bad, out there reason. It's just literally, like you said, he's busy as shit, and he had to drop out because of scheduling. So,
yeah.
This is a huge cast, though. Now you got Styles and Florence Pugh and Chris Pine, and then, of course, Olivia's going to be in it at some point in a supporting role because she's directing it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, woo. Harry, good for him, man. Dunkirk coming right out and firing up and being like going, right?
He's making some moves, man, especially on the on-camera side of things.
Look, I get Harry Styles. I do not get Machine Gun Kelly.
No.
There was a couple of announcements about him being in some more movies coming up, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You go Harry Styles, and if you want to replace Machine Gun in anything, you go for it.
Anything.
You go for it.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just saying.
Well, with all this crazy shit happening at Warner Brothers, this is surprising because I'm surprised they just haven't taken a long delay. The Ellen DeGeneres Show is set to kick off its 18th season on September 21st, and she will be talking about the backstage fucking crazy allegations in the toxic workplace. So I'm guessing that's going to be episode 1.
Yeah.
Like it has to be.
I mean, it would have to be. I mean, and then what she's going to say or what she's going to do. I don't know. She's still got people coming out. Like, I'm guessing an old housekeeper is suing her now, saying that she was abusive to her. And like, so she's still got problems that she's dealing with, and I don't think this is going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah.
But it's a cash cow for Warner Brothers, so, I mean, it only makes sense that they're going to keep it going.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. The real test is going to be this upcoming season, I feel like.
Yeah.
If it, completely bombs and fails, I think this will be the last one.
I mean, oddly though, no advertisers have bailed on her yet,
Which is surprising.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
mean,
super surprising. I mean, I always go back to Tiger Woods. Look how many fucking endorsements bailed out of him once all that shit came out.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll keep following it.
Yeah, man. Oh, I'm super excited because my boy John Cena and Nicole Byer are tapped to host TBS's revival of Wipeout.
Yes.
Super excited, man. I mean,
Yes.
he's really making his way in the entertainment industry. That's not wrestling.
He really is, man. He's following that rock path.
He is.
He really is, and he's doing it smartly. So I think he's going to have a huge career in front of him. I love this. I love this idea. Wipeout was a huge show on ABC. So now that TBS is getting it, Warner took it from the mouse.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a huge success again. We should say Camille Kostek is going to take Jill Wagner's place as the on-field reporter. So that'll be interesting because that was always fun to hear them, talk to these people after ridiculous things.
Yeah, right.
Here's the big question, though, that everybody was worried about when we first talked about this a couple of months ago, that they were even talking about doing this reboot of Wipeout. And I even made the joke, the big red balls, right? Yeah. Right? Everybody needs to. They're coming back.
They need the big red balls.
They need the big red balls, and TBS has announced that, no fear, the big red balls will be back.
Oh, my goodness.
New courses, new challenges, new things, but the big red balls are back.
Yes.
So there you go. Rest easy, guys.
Everybody's excited about big red balls. But
I guess they're better than blue balls.
You know. Oh, my goodness. TBS has also picked up a full season of an hour-long talent competition series titled Go Big Show. The show is going to highlight the most extreme talents, including monster truck races, alligator training, and stunt archery, as contestants compete against each other for a grand prize of $100,000. Damn!
Yeah. Now, I want to see Snoop Dogg talk about, somebody training or wrestling alligators.
Right.
Snoop Dogg, guys. Snoop Dogg, Rosario Dawson, Jennifer Nettles, and the American Nightmare, Cody from All Elite Wrestling.
Yes.
Cody. They're going to be the judges.
That's
Talk
great.
about an eclectic group of judges.
Right.
This is going to be really interesting.
That's coming from everywhere, man.
Oh, yeah, dude. I just don't even know. I mean, will we see Cory Booker show up?
Right.
If Rosario Dawson is judging, will Cory Booker show up?
I think he should.
I think he should.
Oh, my goodness.
Cory Booker and Snoop Dogg. If they even just take a toke, I'm totally down for watching that show. Cory Booker's all about legalizing marijuana everywhere. You can't tell me you're going to get Cory Booker showing up with Rosario and not have him smoke with Snoop.
Right.
I'm just saying. All right. Anyway.
I feel like it's a thing.
I just said that, now hopefully Cory hears that. It's like, I got to have that happen.
I got to.
Got to.
My goodness. Some crazy things happening at Viacom CBS.
Yeah.
President of production at Paramount's Motion Picture Group, Elizabeth Raposo?
Yeah,
Raposo is exiting her role. This comes out of nowhere. The departure comes as Emma Watts takes leadership of the Motion Picture Group, and she played a key role in films such as Rocketman, Quiet Place, Mission Impossible, Fallout, Bumblebee, and the latest Star Trek films.
And Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
So this is a woman who put a lot on the table, and I'm guessing, I don't know, just the sudden announcement that she's leaving. I don't know if that means she was not okay with having to fall under Emma.
Yeah.
Or was it Emma's decision to?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. This is a weird one, but it was just, bloop, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not the only shakeup, though. We got a lot of shakeups to talk about, and I mean, a lot of stuff going on in all of the networks and studios, man. But good stuff also, though. Not just, everybody, another thing that we can put to rest. Everybody was worried. Everybody was panicked. Were you panicked? I don't know. Panicked is the right word.
Right word, I guess.
After months of negotiations, guys, Neve Campbell has signed on officially.
Boom.
She is coming back as Sidney Prescott in the new Scream reboot.
I know people are excited.
I mean, this was a given.
Yeah, everybody's
I
coming
think
back.
they draw that all out just to be like, oh my gosh, can you have that without her? You couldn't.
Yeah.
You couldn't have a Scream movie without Sydney, so you knew Nev was coming back.
Exactly.
David Arquette, Courtney Cox, they're coming back as Dewey and Gale also. And then we've already talked about last week, Jack Quaid, Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Kyle Gaynor, Jasmine Savoy Brown. Woo! Those are all the newcomers coming to the cast with the old guys. That's not it, though. Now we're finding out Dylan Mignette from 13 Reasons Why, Mason Gooding, and Mickey Madison, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And Mason Gooding, we should say, Love Victor. They're all now attached to it as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It seems like every week we're adding like 15 people to this cast.
That's what it seems like.
Anyway, we'll keep you updated. Scream reboot, 85 new members. There you go. But of course, the biggie was Nev Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
Nev Campbell is back, guys. So
Yeah. That
go.
thing should start shooting soon.
Yeah, it starts shooting, I think, near the end of next month in North Carolina.
Yeah.
In Wilmington. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Definitely. And Paramount Pictures has acquired the home entertainment and television licensing rights to 3 Romulus Entertainment feature films: Dreamland, starring Margot Robbie, the Charlie Hunnam and Jack O'Connell boxing movie Jungle Land, and the Amber Heard, Jonathan Majors, Terrence Howard LA crime pick Gully. So all 3 movies will be released in select theaters by Vertical Entertainment in conjunction with their release on home entertainment platforms.
Oh, interesting. So in conjunction with.
Yeah.
Meaning same time. That might be a smart move for, anything with Amber Heard right now, because
I know.
I'm just waiting for the announcement that, Warner Brothers is going to recast her in Aquaman. I'm just saying.
My vote goes to Emma Clarke. I hope she takes the role.
That would be epic, wouldn't it? Oh my gosh, man. That would be so awesome.
Right?
Do you remember Tammy Wynette?
I have no idea who that is.
No, Tammy George Jones.
Yeah, I know who George Jones
yeah.
is.
Well, Tammy Wynette is the woman that he beat, and
wow.
like his wife, alcohol problems and drug problems when he was abusive, and
Yeah.
she stood by her man. That's who she is, Tammy Wynette. Stand by your man. Okay.
I see.
She stood by her man. Jessica Chastain is going to be playing Tammy Wynette in a limited series called George and Tammy. Now, here's the crazy thing. This was originally developed as a feature film for Fox Searchlight, but now it is headed to Spectrum and Paramount Network. What?
All right.
So, yeah, it's inspired by their relationship, turbulent and violent at times, but it did inspire, as I just said, Stand By Your Man, some of the most iconic music of all time in country music. And here's where it's interesting. Spectrum is going to have the series exclusively for 9 months when it first airs. Then it will stream on CBS All Access, and then Paramount Network will also get it after it expires on Spectrum. So there you go.
That's really weird to me. I think they're doing kind of an HBO thing right now with the whole HBO Now and HBO Go and then now HBO Max. Like, why don't you just consolidate Paramount Network and CBS All Access?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that would just be so much more helpful, especially CBS All Access is killing it right now.
They are.
So,
and
I mean, it would make sense.
I'm still waiting for that rebranding.
Yeah.
We keep seeing it all the time, but still nothing. What is it going to be called? When is it going to happen? Like, they keep teasing it, but, I'm going to miss CBS All Access.
I know, I am too.
Just don't use some stupid ass name like Peacock. That's all I'm saying. Okay?
CBS Plus.
Yeah,
Like,
or CBS Plus. Or I Plus. No, because the I logo. No, don't make it I Plus.
That'd be really weird.
Oh my God, Apple will sue.
Yeah, right. Like, they'll be right there. It's like, don't do it, bitch.
We own everything. I.
Yeah, right.
Like, okay, all right.
But other exciting things happening in that world, in the CBS Viacom CBS world. I always do it. And
it's okay.
It is fine.
It's okay.
It's fine. Showtime has renewed The Chi for its 4th season following ratings growth in the 3rd run, which aired in its season finale on, August 23rd.
Yep.
And Justin Hillian will return as executive producer and showrunner for season 4, which this is the first time that a showrunner has sticked around for more than one season.
Yeah, which is crazy to me because this has been a pretty popular show.
Yeah.
And so the idea that these showrunners keep exiting was shocking to me.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising that it's still as popular and still as story-driven with, like, so many people's different vision.
Yeah, and I guess season 3 grew by more than 10% over season 2, which is what spurred them renewing it for season 4.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, this is definitely a show that has not been free of controversy.
No.
So the idea that it's moving forward.
Yeah. Jason Mitchell.
Yeah. What Go back and listen to our shows, guys. You'll know all about it. You'll know all about it.
But crazy things and stuff happening at NBC Universal. They have announced its replacement for former Vice Chairman Ron Mayer. 30-year company veteran Bonnie Hammer is taking over from the position and will serve as key role and advisor for NBC Universal CEO Jeff Shell.
Yes.
So it makes sense.
Yep. And then so it only makes sense now that Hammer has been promoted. Where's her spot going?
Yeah.
Well, they also promoted Universal TV president Perlena Igbauki to chairman of NBC Universal's content studios, taking over the role previously occupied by Hammer.
Boom.
Igbauki will now have oversight of Universal Television, Universal Content Productions, and NBC Universal International Studios.
That's exciting. I'm glad they fill seats. That's something I will say with NBC Universal. They always fill spots because I feel like when you try to consolidate spots, sometimes the content will lack, and sometimes like the product will not be as good. So I'm glad that they know how to move things around.
Absolutely, and
rightfully
addressing,
so, yeah,
exactly, and addressing the concern about content. It's funny that you bring that up,
well,
because NBC Universal also announced that former Warner Brothers TV president Susan Rovner, she's been tapped as the new top entertainment programming executive in charge of content. Unclear what her title will actually be, but she will oversee all programming portfolios that include the Peacock, Basic Cable Networks, USA, Sci-Fi, and Bravo and E, and the broadcast network NBC. She's going to be tasked with leading the content groups covering scripted, unscripted, alternative, and late-night programming. Here's the kicker, though. She's kind of like giving a kick in the teeth and a big FU to Warner Brothers, because apparently she was the heir apparent to replace Peter Roth when he stepped down as chairman of Warner Brothers TV, but she's not there anymore.
Not now.
So their succession plan has taken a big hit, and guess we'll have to wait and see who's going to get that spot. In a little bit, we'll talk about somebody that might fill that role. Maybe. We
Possibly.
don't know.
It makes sense, though. I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks on weeks, and that all this shifting towards streaming, and now that people are putting people in places to where they feel like they will excel in the streaming content game.
Yes.
So it makes sense, and I mean, this is, I don't want to say a huge cherry pick from Warner Media to NBC Universal, but it's kind of a cherry pick.
She did have to negotiate, apparently, for several weeks to get out of her contract because she had a year left on her contract with Warner Brothers TV. So, interesting.
Right? But, I mean, the Peacock is doing something right. Oh, my goodness. They have given a 2-season order to that drama, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reboot, or retelling, really. It's not a reboot.
Right.
Retelling Bel-Air. It's going to be an hour-long series based on, you guys know, the fan favorite Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it's so super exciting because we all know that Jada's going to be on, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Will Smith is going to be on, executive produce as well, with their Westbrook Studios and Universal Television, obviously.
Yeah, so that's badass. And guys, this shows you, we talk about it all the time, and our guests talk about it all the time, about the importance of creating content and getting content out there and putting your stuff out there. This was a fan video made by somebody of a dramatic retelling of Fresh Prince. It blew up on YouTube. Will Smith saw it, loved it. Now it's going to series.
Yeah.
so
good.
There you go. And the beauty of it is the guy who did it, he's the one. He is going to be writing and co-executive producing the series.
That's
so
awesome.
Morgan Cooper. So congratulations, Morgan, that you're proof positive. If you put some shit out there and you do it right, people will see it, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's a Kansas City native, and I was watching, because Will Smith has a YouTube channel where he does vlogs and stuff, and he was doing an interview with Morgan and another producer, and he asked Morgan, where did you get this idea? Where did it happen? He was like, well, there's this really long bridge in Kansas City, and I started thinking about Fresh Prince and how it impacted so many kids in the 90s and how they're growing up today and how they're just becoming humans in society, and he was thinking, wow, that story right there is actually a drama. Like, it's more than just the comedy that it was.
Well, and the reality of that is, it's so funny because in our interview coming up with Jay Alex, he was born and raised in Philly.
Yeah.
The bad side of Philly.
Exactly.
And he literally talks about that, how dangerous it was and how he wanted to get out of the neighborhood. So the idea that this came to him as a drama makes sense because in real life, South Philly's a drama.
Exactly.
You know, so
There's no comedy there.
no. So good job, man. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. So.
Yeah, seriously. I'm very surprised by this.
Don't cry.
I'll try not to.
Don't cry.
I'll try not to. This is the black hole that I get into sometimes, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm talking about keeping up with the Kardashians, guys. They're apparently it's ending next year. Yeah, everybody knows. Well, I'm not sure a lot of people know. It's executive produced by Ryan Seacrest and premiered on E in October 14th of 2007, which is crazy. And the 19th season will be airing September 17th, and it'll be followed by a final season, season 20 and 20 or in 2021.
Yeah.
I'm just honestly surprised. Maybe there's just a lot of drama that they don't want the world to see anymore, or maybe they're just done with it. I'd be done with it. I wouldn't want fucking cameras following me around all the time.
Yeah, I think it's probably a mix of both. There's some stuff going on at E and some shit being canceled at E, and I guess there's just some turmoil going on there. Maybe that played into it. Then, like you said, there's been so much turmoil. I mean, they've been going at it on the show recently about how don't film me, this is private, where this is I don't want this shown on the show kind of a thing. So maybe they are having a little back and forth about what should and shouldn't be on the show. Maybe that plays into it. I don't know. It just still is remarkable to me, the idea of a scant, couple minute long sex tape launched this $billion empire, this show, and all of the craziness that are the Kardashians and Jenners started with a 5-minute sex tape from Kim Kardashian.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Thank you, Ray J.
Thank you, Ray J. Put some content out there on YouTube or, somewhere, and boom, look what happens. Yeah. Sometimes you get a series, sometimes you get a,
It's super crazy, man. It's absolutely insane. But, I mean, they're rich as fuck now. So.
They are.
Go them. Universal Pictures has also set a release date for Freaky, a body swap serial comedy centering around Catherine Newton and Vince Vaughn. Interesting. Just that right there. I'm like,
it's a horror.
What?
It's a horror take on Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
So apparently, Catherine Newton's character swaps places with Vince Vaughn's serial killer.
Oh.
Yeah. She becomes the obsession of his serial killer.
Oh.
And then I don't know how, whatever, some magical woo, they switch bodies, and she's got 24 hours to get out of the body of a serial killer before she's stuck there forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting premise right there. But I'm happy to see more Vince Vaughn because he just was in a Hulu original as well. So I'm happy to see more of him doing some big things. But
me too.
And
Catherine Newton. She's rising quickly too.
She is.
Remember, she started off a little Supernatural.
Yeah,
bloom, bloom. So good for her, man.
Right.
Good for her.
Did you see Jensen Ackles gets to keep the car?
Yes. Yeah. It only makes sense. Baby belongs to Jensen Ackles. I'm sorry. And I want to personally see him do what Jill Wagner is doing right now. I would love to see Jensen Ackles drive Baby from Vancouver down to Texas. Yeah. Road tripping Baby. You can stop and see him. Maybe you run into him at a gas station or something. It'd be epic, dude. Just think about it.
What if he showed up in The Boys in the car?
Oh, my gosh. That would be so badass.
Right.
I mean, they've already kind of done that back and forth play with Walking Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Where Negan's bat, Lucille was in the trunk of the car.
Yeah.
I mean, so badass.
So good, man. So good. Sony doing some things. Surprisingly, we were talking about last week how Jamie Foxx was a Netflix golden boy right now.
Right.
But apparently not golden enough. He is heading over to Sony and his producing partner, and Dedry Turner?
Sure,
Datari, you guys know. They've signed an overall deal with Sony Pictures Entertainment, and they're going to develop and produce feature films. First project's already in development that Fox and Turner are producing for the studio under the new deal, and it's an untitled action thriller written by Jewel Taylor. Yeah.
And of course, Fox will star in it.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, that's why you sign these deals, right?
Exactly.
To give yourself jobs. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
Oh, this next one. Sony Pictures has set Will Gluck and Chris Bremer to script End of the World, a buddy action comedy that Gluck will direct. You guys know Gluck. He recently directed Peter Rabbit, and he's finishing up the sequel to that, Peter Rabbit 2: The Runaway. And Bremer recently wrote Bad Boys for Life, and is currently working on the next installment of that.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a good team.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a buddy cop thing or a buddy team-up thing, I guess, somebody that writes Bad Boys is an obvious choice.
Yeah.
Peter Rabbit, I'm not... but, it'll be...
James Corden, though.
Yeah.
James Corden's Peter Rabbit.
Oh, my my gosh, I wonder if he would be in a buddy movie.
That would be hilarious.
James Corden in a buddy movie would be great.
Yeah.
Pretty much anybody you pair him with would be brilliant.
Yeah.
But I mean, oh my gosh.
I agree. It's going to be interesting because when I always think about like end of the world comedies, I think of like The End with like Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, all that. So like it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what happens.
This next one is just file under why.
Yeah, I know. Like,
why?
is this needed?
Like, does anybody give a shit?
No.
I think this is an attempt on a cheap knockoff of Gotham.
Yeah.
But newsflash, while Gotham before Batman might have been interesting, I don't think anybody gives a shit about Detroit before RoboCop.
They really don't.
Ed Newmanmeyer, the scriptwriter of the original 1987 RoboCop, he revealed that he's apparently at MGM working on a prequel TV series for RoboCop. It's in the early stages of development. Now here's the kicker. The show will not feature RoboCop. It won't even feature the guy who became RoboCop. It's going to detail the rise of Omni Consumer Products and the company's vice president, Dick Jones.
Who cares?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't understand.
Look, I loved the character in the movie. You know, it was a brilliant bad guy, well done, played well, but who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
I think MGM's just trying a lot of shit to see what sticks on the wall. Like, I mean, it makes sense. They're trying to stay afloat. So, I mean, you know, you always got to have something to work on. So, even if it's decent or not, I guess. So, yeah. But this, a long time coming, guys. A long time coming. We can finally announce the funeral of The Walking Dead. It's announced that the 11th season of The Walking Dead will be its last.
Yes.
So, finally. But the films are still going on. Films are still happening.
That's right. And so is the show.
Yeah.
They announced its cancellation only to tell you that they're going to spread the final season out over 2 years.
Which is insane.
It's the only thing going. The Walking Dead would be the only show I know that says we're canceled, but we're going to be on for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, what? But, I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
but I mean, this also, Fear of the Walking Dead's going to continue, and they're doing some spin-offs with fan favorites. You guys know them, you love them. Daryl and Carol.
Yes.
Daryl, Carol. And,
That's interesting, though, because a spinoff with Daryl and Carol is interesting to me because if anybody was familiar with the graphic novel that this whole thing is based on, Daryl and Carol were never in it.
Yeah.
These were characters created just for the show.
Yeah.
So the idea that they'll be the only two moving forward is interesting to me.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It is, man. It is. Big things happening.
Oh, they did announce, though, while the 3 movies that they had talked about prior are moving forward, apparently all plans for a Negan spinoff are dead.
Damn.
There will be no, and Maggie also. No, they apparently when the show ends, they're done.
Yeah.
So anybody that was hoping for those spinoffs, not going to happen.
Jeffrey Dean, we got some stuff you want to work on.
That's right.
I'm just saying,
Come
he'd make a good Duggery.
Yes, he would. He would be a badass Doug. Oh my God, yeah. Brilliant.
Oh goodness. Heading over to Netflix. Oh my goodness. They're making some changes that a lot of people were not expecting. Honestly. And obviously we've been talking about Ted's taking a more CEO role because we announced a couple of weeks ago that Reed is stepping back, letting him take the reins a little bit, Ted take the reins a little bit. But just a month and a half after being named co-CEO, Ted is making huge moves. The top of the TV streaming executive ranks, Cindy Holland, VP of Original Content, who helped lead Netflix's move into original programming like way back in the day. She helped change it from DVD by mail company into the huge streaming service powerhouse that it is now. She's leaving after 18 years with the company.
Which is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. But I'm excited to find out why, because I got Reed's book, and apparently he's going to tell me why things like this happen. Bella Bajaria, VP of Local Language Originals, who led the non-English TV program, so their big move, push into the foreign markets, she's going to take over now, and it's going to combine the two teams together. And Sarandos was cheering her. He said, since becoming co-CEO, I've wanted to simplify the way our content team operates with one global film team led by Scott Stuber. For anybody who doesn't know, Stuber's in charge of the films, guys. And one for TV, which Bella will now be in charge of. And Reed Hastings was asked about it. He was interviewed on the day it went down, and he basically said, "Look, we run our company like a sports team, and while there's a lot of freedom and there's a lot of great stuff, we're under the philosophy that you have to perform every
Exactly.
year to keep your job."
Yeah.
And so, I'm not implying that, what he meant by that is that somehow she did not perform, or maybe she's been outperformed. I don't know, but I mean, she was integral in the Netflix that exists today.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about at the top, my guess is now that Rovner left, Warner Brothers TV in a bind and no succession plan because she bolted to go to NBC Universal, I would not be shocked at all if they make the move there. I mean, it would only make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also what we were talking about at the top, I feel like, I mean, she was the best person for the job, and especially with the new wave of streaming happening and with Netflix competing against all these other streamers, they're trying to stay on top.
Yeah,
And they got to stay new, relevant, cutting edge. So, I mean, it is what it is. You got to compete for your role, and sometimes you just get beat.
I think though Holland is a huge gain for anybody who picks
Oh,
her up.
agreed,
And
yeah.
I would have thought Peacock. I would have thought NBC Universal because they're struggling right now
They
with
are.
but HBO Max just launched. They're trying to get in on the game and everything. And if Warner Brothers TV can take Holland,
Yeah.
somebody who literally helped turn Netflix into the streaming giant, I think it's a huge grab, man.
Especially with original content,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I mean they got some good stuff on there, but on the television side, they don't have a lot of original television series. So
That's true. And
I-
if they're talking about merging like the CW Arrowverse shows with the HBO Max superhero shows and like trying to cut, they're going to need somebody in charge of the WB TV that's going to be able to handle all that.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on it, man. I think Holland,
Definitely.
hey, WB, call her up.
You mean the CW verse?
Yes, the CW verse now, not the Arrowverse anymore. Which, by the way, I'm pissed because does that imply that you're not moving forward with Green Arrow and the Canaries? Because
yeah.
you need an Arrow to make it the Arrowverse, right? Are you telling me that Kat McNamara and the girls aren't moving forward? Because I'll be
Bullshit.
pissed about that.
Yeah.
I'll be pissed about. Just put that show, greenlight that show, bring it back, and then you can still have the Arrowverse because there'll
Exactly.
still be a Green Arrow.
Exactly.
God damn it!
Just
so
trying to
easy.
just trying to help you out, man.
That's all I'm
Just trying
saying.
to-
That show was brilliant. It was the highest rated show of the series other than the finale, guys. That should tell you something.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Big things happening still at Netflix. Rob Morgan is joining Jennifer Lawrence in Adam McKay's next feature film for Netflix. Don't Look Up.
Oh.
Look down. McKay will write, direct, and co-produce. Everybody knows he is the once fellow producer with Will Ferrell. So,
Yes.
I mean, but he's doing some more dramatic things. So, I'm super excited about that. And it's going to follow two low-level astronomers who embark on the media tour to warn mankind of an approaching asteroid that will destroy planet Earth. And Morgan will be recently played Magic Johnson's father in Adam McKay's upcoming HBO Los Angeles Lakers series. So, I mean, obviously they have a good relationship there. And
true.
McKay going more dramatic, like, I'm super pumped.
Everybody who's a Marvel fan knows Morgan. I mean, he's the beloved drug dealer that got his ass kicked in every Marvel Netflix
right.
show. Daredevil, like Jessica Jones, they all whooped his ass or called on him and then whooped his ass. You guys, I love him. I think he's a great character
I do
actor,
too.
so I think it's going to be a smart move.
And Randall
Yes,
Pearson fucking
yes.
kicked his ass for the run for the
It's
council
true.
seat. Like,
It's
and This
true.
Is Us. Like,
Oh my gosh, this guy's classic at getting his ass kicked.
he
I mean,
deserves a win.
He does.
Oh my goodness. But Mara Brock Echo?
Akil, sure.
Akil, the creator and showrunner behind such series as The Game and Being Mary Jane, has signed a multi-year overall deal with Netflix to create new original content, which makes sense. The deal comes ahead of September 11th's release date of the popular series Girlfriends on Netflix, which dropped today, making the series' 20th anniversary.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Again, Netflix scooping up creators, man. Is Gabrielle Union headed to Netflix?
Right.
That would be my next guess because, being Mary Jane. So a relationship there. Maybe you bring her on. New series for Gabrielle. I know God knows she's looking for a new home after all that crap with NBC.
Yeah, dude, it's
So-
super crazy, man. It's super crazy. But we all talk about all the time. Everybody is trying to do a Christmas movie now. Like, I mean, they're doing pretty well with Christmas movies. I will say that.
I liked the Vanessa Hudgens one.
I did too.
I thought it was good.
I really like the Kurt Russell
the
one.
Kurt Russell one also, yeah.
They're doing good things. And now Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields is going to do a Christmas movie with Carrie Wells.
Yules?
Yules. So close. So close,
It's so close.
man.
Princess Bride people know who he is.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, that guy there. Star in A Castle for Christmas, a new romantic comedy for Netflix. Story follows a famed American author, Sophie, who travels to Scotland and finds herself wanting to buy a castle. And the prickly owner, Scottish Duke, named Miles, will sell to the foreigner, and that's how it happens.
Apparently. So, tried and true formula of Hallmark Christmas movies.
Basically,
everybody's taking them and running with them now. So, whatever works.
Yeah,
whatever works. Like I said, I mean, Vanessa Hudgens was cute. I mean, I thought it was a decent movie. So. We'll see.
Definitely. And I mean,
Brooke Shields. Who doesn't love Brooke Shields?
Exactly. A couple of months ago, we were talking about Nick Cage coming back and being Tiger King there. Well, that series is now being picked up by Amazon, and I'm just saying, get off Tiger King's dick. Why do we keep doing this? I don't know, man.
I don't know either. You got that other one coming on NBC.
I know.
And so I don't know.
The time has passed.
It has. Like, I don't know. I like Nick Cage. I like Amazon. I just think this is a bad idea.
I agree.
Bad idea.
Yeah. But good ideas, good things happening
Yes!
at Apple. Because you guys know the only O that matters has a deal with Apple, and she has now expanded their partnership into podcasting, which makes she's everywhere, guys.
She is everywhere.
Like, it's absolutely insane. And of course, Oprah's Book Club podcast. It's going to be an 8-part mini-series focused on different things like the origins of our descendants. Big things. Published. This book was published August 4th. Paints a picture of a hidden hierarchy of human ranking that shaped America. Oh, goodness gracious. Getting deep into it, Oprah.
Oh, and what? She's going to do 2 episodes each week.
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
She a busy girl.
What? Okay. I would like to think we inspired Oprah into this.
I'm just saying.
Because her book club stuff inspired us, and then we had a great top 5 segment of our favorite books.
Yes.
And we did all that. I think maybe what happened is that Oprah heard that brilliant,
right.
Awesome book club top 5 and decided to do a book club podcast. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to go with that story, and that's going to be it.
I'm sticking to it.
Thanks, Oprah.
Appreciate you. Oh, my goodness.
Come on and talk about it.
Yes,
great.
Exactly. The only O that matters. But Kevin Hart's doing some things, man. He's doing some really good things, shedding some positive light on his overall image. He's been everywhere recently, just promoting positivity and all the stuff that he's got going on.
Definite.
But the MDA is relaunching its once annual Jerry Lee Lewis MDA Telethon, which will broadcast its which did broadcast its final edition in 2014, and now the telethon is going to be called Kevin Hart's Kids Telethon. That's awesome, and he's going to host on October 24th. That's when the event is going to happen, which will raise funds for MDA and Heart's Help from Heart Charity and benefit for children with disabilities and disadvantages. According to the organizations, the event will take place at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so mark your calendars. On the streamer is yet to be announced, so that'll be cool. It'll be on a streamer, but there's going to be like Jack Black's going to be there, Michael B. Jordan, Josh Gad, Usain Bolt, like so many different people are going to be at this event helping out.
Yeah, and I mean, the MDA Telethon, Jerry Lewis, that was like an institute for so long.
Yeah.
So long. Sinatra and Ed McMahon and Dean Martin and the whole Rat Pack. And just for years and years and years and years. I got to be honest, I would never have thought the MDA would have brought it back after the death of Jerry Lewis. I just didn't think it would ever be a thing. But if you're going to do it, Kevin Hart, I feel like, is the right guy to do it.
I agree.
I know he's had some issues, the past couple of years, but, it's ridiculous. This guy's got a huge, pardon the pun, heart.
He does.
And he genuinely wants to give back. And so this kind of a thing, I think, is going to be epic for him. It's going to be epic for the MDA. And I just think this is a smart move.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think celebrities are held at a higher standard than us normal people. Let's be honest about it. Celebrities are normal people. We all make mistakes. We all do bad things sometimes that we regret. So, I mean, just got to live and learn and continue on with life and be the best person you can possibly be. And I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if it's going to show up on multiple streamers. I mean, the MDA telethon used to be broadcast on all the networks.
Yeah.
Like at its height of its popularity, it used to be broadcast on all the networks at the same time.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the streamers will all get together and maybe kind of promote this thing. I think it would be huge.
That'd be really huge for all of them, and to show like unity that everybody comes together for an important cause. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. There's also going to be like comedy skits, musical performances, a whole bunch of different stuff. It's going to be really freaking entertaining, guys. So be sure to mark your calendars and check that out.
Definitely.
Now it is time for our guest segment. We got the one and only Jay Alex coming on the show. This guy, I know we say it a lot. We say it a lot. But this might be my favorite interview.
I mean, seriously, it was so personal and so like down to earth and just, I don't know, man. I really enjoyed his thought process and the way he puts everything together, the way he approaches his life. And you could just tell in this interview how much he genuinely cares about other people and wanting to help other people achieve what they're trying to achieve. And I'm excited for everybody to hear this one, man.
I am too. Well, here he is.
J. Alex Brinson, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys today?
Doing great.
Living the dream. Super excited to talk to you today, brother.
Yes.
Living the dream. That's amazing.
Exactly. We're alive. We're breathing. I mean, we're working on what we like to work on. So, I mean, we're doing what we can.
You know what, man? That is a really positive outlook right now. That's awesome.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's one of the reasons we're excited to talk to you, man. Just all the stuff that you got coming, man, with your attitude and your approach towards life and the things you've overcome and the positivity you bring to everything you do. We're super stoked, dude.
Dustin, man. Yeah, that's that. Come on, man. Don't get me emotional, man.
That's it. That's our goal, dude. We're gonna make you cry before it's over.
That's the thing.
You guys are awesome.
All right, man. So listen, like we said, super stoked, dude. We have such a huge block of All Rise fans. They're so pumped that you're coming on the show. So we are definitely going to be talking about that. But there's so much stuff I want to talk to you about, and Logan wants to talk to you about because you are so inspiring, and we have a lot of listeners that are trying to break into the industry. A lot of up and comers who are trying to find their way, and I think your story is just phenomenal and one that's so inspiring, especially for people out there who are trying to overcome some obstacles to get to where they want to be. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about how you got into the industry, how you got started, and some of the stuff you had to go through to kind of get where you're at, man.
Absolutely. Well, firstly, thanks so much for having me on,
Sure.
Dustin and Logan. And Crazy Ant, I want to know about the name, actually. I mean, I don't want to digress, but I do want to know about that name.
The Crazy
cool.
Ant name, we get hammered with that all the time, and it's really just like the goofiest story ever, man. It's like we were working in broadcast journalism before we got into the entertainment industry. We were both working at a news station in South Mississippi, and we were doing this story about crazy ants who were making an infestation into our area, and what they're known for is like really tearing up electronics and equipment, camera equipment, and like recording equipment and stuff like that. So it just came out of nowhere, dude. We were like, well, that's pretty important to us, all this kind of equipment and this kind of, integral to what we do. So wouldn't that suck if Crazy Ants came and just tore shit up, So we're like, fuck it, that sounds like a really cool name. Let's go with Crazy Ant because they're kind of like these crazy type things that don't stop until they get the job done.
Exactly.
So
we're here to tear up. We're here to tear up the industry, man.
That's it.
Well, that's what it's about. I mean, I think that's a great segue into. It's hard to answer it in short, but
Sure.
You know, I think making mistakes and failing and going out here and really addressing your own individual personal fear is really what it's about. And I think we sometimes struggle with having to be perfect, having to be right. And if you want to be a successful artist, in my opinion, you have to be. I'm actually going to go a step beyond today and say you have to be excited
Mm,
about making mistakes. You have to be excited and passionate about failing, because the reality is the only way that you're going to grow as an artist is making mistakes and going out and trying. And
exactly.
crazy ant. Let's go with it. Like that. That's amazing.
Right, and
You
I mean,
know.
dude, it exploded better than we could have ever thought. We had a brilliant, graphic artist come up with the logo. We get compliments on the logo all the time. It just kind of like took off on its own, merit, and got us to places we
Mm,
never thought it would go. And it was just on a whim, like you said. Let's just do this and
yeah.
go. So,
Yeah. But so okay. So let's ask the question. I mean, let's answer the question together. So what made you just go? Like most people don't go. They're paralyzed. They can't go. How are you guys able to go?
well, I tell you
Yeah,
what. Oh,
you
but
answer it from your point of view, and I'll
yeah,
answer it from mine.
yeah. For me,
Okay.
I lost my dad at a really young age. I was 8 years old when I lost my dad, and
Hmm.
so my life was kind of put on the back burner, and I kind of had responsibilities to grow up really fast because I had a little brother who was a baby at that point, just 1 years old, and
Yeah.
kind of fell on me and my sister while my mom busted her ass off as a single mom trying to raise us to take
Mm,
care of my brother, right? So
mm,
then I get to that point, and I'm kind of always, it's just kind of become that mentality of I've got to do other things for other people first, and kind of
mm.
a thing.
Yeah, man.
I lost my brother when he was 19. He also passed away at 19. So I spent my whole life raising him just to lose him. So
Wow.
that kind of that kind of woke me up, man. It's like the entertainment industry and being involved in that was something I had always wanted to do, but somehow had always been put on the back burner for other people. And the loss of him just kind of woke me up and said, you know what, I've got to do this. This is something I have to try to do. I have to stop putting other people first. I got to do it myself. And that kind
Wow.
of all was the goal. But then I had a baby, so then I needed that real job because you can't support the baby on that. So
Hey.
hence the broadcast journalism and going into news. But so that
Awesome.
kind of happened. But long story short, like you said, just to kind of I was fortunate enough to meet somebody and have a conversation with somebody that really said, well, why not now? Your daughter's about to be grown.
Mm,
You got to do it and have faith. And so that was it, man. It was that conversation. It was like a 3 hour conversation, just really inspired me to be like, take the leap. And one of my favorite quotes is, take the leap and the net will appear. And I just really,
yes.
that hit home for me. And I'm like, you know what? What's the worst thing that can happen? I go back and I'm a news producer still, or can I go out there and live my dream and make it happen? And
Yes.
the rest was history, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
And I mean, for myself personally, I was kind of always just going through the motions, especially with school and everything. Got out of that and never really knew what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to be my own boss, like my own like entrepreneur self. And I grew up
Hmm.
in a multiracial family. My brother is mixed, and my little sister also. We all come from different dads, so we come from all walks of life. So I was like, I just want to be able to tell stories from all walks of
Mm,
life that to educate people on what is happening now and what happened in the past and how we can change that and make the world overall a better place. I just want to tell a overall epic story. And I mean, that's kind of why we started the podcast, so we could make the connections and have other people tell their stories so that
yeah.
they can educate others on either how to break into the industry or it just in general with life, how to treat each other. Because I mean, not a
Yeah,
lot of
man.
people know how to treat each other nowadays. So I mean, that's where we come from, man, and that's what we pride ourselves on.
You guys are amazing, man. I think, I mean, I'm the same. Like, our stories are so similar. Um, it's the pain of our youth, right? It's like,
Yeah,
I don't want anyone to feel how I felt as a child.
exactly.
And that drives me, that motivates me. And as an artist, it's great because you get to use that pain and translate that into characters. And when you do it well, it's believable. And then you're like, oh, great. People want to pay you to do this, you know? And it's
Right.
just, you're just dealing with real pain. You're like,
Hell
you're
yeah.
dealing with real pain. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And it started
Um,
early for you, right? I mean, you had to overcome dyslexia and just a bunch of challenges early to even get started, right?
so I got really lucky in that I couldn't read well, and I couldn't learn my ABCs. And my mom was on the carpet, like making the shapes with her
Mm-hmm.
arms, and I just couldn't get it. And so she worked 3 jobs to send me to this private school
Wow.
called Benchmark
Mm-hmm.
in Philly. And at this school, there were a lot of affluent, wealthy families in the area, and that's kind of what got me going because one, I learned how to develop process,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
how to how to kind of accumulate the things that I need, go out, find them, put the blocks together, and then build. So
Right.
that was huge. But then also I was able to see the other side of the tracks, man. I'm from West Philly, bro. So,
Born and raised.
I'm from the block,
Yeah.
so I had never seen the suburbs and
Mm-hmm.
Right.
to see how people were living and I was like, oh my gosh. Like I turned to my mom one day and I said, hey, am I any different than those kids?
Mm-hmm.
And she said no. And I think this was probably like 10, 11.
Right.
And in that moment, I made a decision that I was going to live like that rather than living like I was living. And that was the beginning of the journey. But I did get lucky, man. And there were so many people that helped me along the way, you
Well,
know?
and I love that you brought up benchmark because I recently watched your little speech there for the benchmark
Oh
commencement.
my
And
God.
dude, that was so like even that speech was inspiring. The little story, and I want the listeners to kind of hear it. You tell this story of a guy who's going through a flood, and it's
Mm,
getting really bad, and he's kind of getting trapped, and he has to climb up to the top of his house, and these people keep coming to ask for to help him out. It's like a boat comes by and says, "Hey man, do you need to? We can get you on board and take you to some dry land, get you safe." And he's like, no, the Lord is going to save me. And then another boat comes and he's like, no, the Lord is going to save me. Then a helicopter comes and he's like, no, the Lord is going to save me. And the guy dies. And
yeah,
so you're thinking, what? So he gets to
yeah.
heaven, and he's like, what's up, Lord? I thought you were going to save me. And he's like, dude, I sent you 2 boats in a helicopter and you didn't take it. Like, I loved that because I think so many people out there who are chasing dreams or trying to
Mm,
overcome obstacles to get to where they're at are scared to ask for help.
Yeah.
And there is
yes,
nothing
sir.
wrong with
Woo,
asking for help, right? So I loved that
yes.
story, man.
Yes, yes. Help. I don't know why. It's just like, why don't we? I mean, all I do is get help. Like, all I do every day is go around and say, oh my gosh, I'm stressed. Can you help me do this? Hey, I need to know how to do this. Can you help me do this? Like, I feel like I'm constantly trying to get help. I'm constantly trying because I don't know everything. I know, I mean, I think I know nothing, so I'm always trying to learn. And in order to learn, you need help from other people.
Right.
It's like it's just something that I'm exploring, man. Like, get help. I mean, we're talking like macro life here, but like even when it comes to acting process,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
It's like even when you're approaching the material, you can't approach a character, in my opinion, knowing all the answers. You know what I mean? It
Right.
has to be figuring it out. You have to be trying to get help in the process because it's about discovering rather than knowing, in my opinion.
Exactly.
That's
Well,
great.
also think it goes back to what you were talking about earlier. It's all about trying things, and while you're trying
Yes.
things, it sparks inspiration on
Yes,
something that
brother.
might put you on the right path. Going back to your story, I mean, sometimes things come in your line of path that are supposed to be there, that are supposed to help you out, and yeah,
Mm,
that's just so freaking amazing to hear.
Yeah, and one of the things I really like too, Logan and I talk about this all the time. I feel feel like, whatever your faith system may be, I feel like there's a greater power, and I feel like if you are destined for something, he will continue, or she will continue, or whatever the being may be, will continue to put you on that path
Exactly.
until you figure that out.
Yeah.
You kind of stray away from it, and all of a sudden, no, something happens, and you're back on it again. And I feel like you're guided. You just have to figure it out that this is where you're supposed to be.
Dustin, that's great. And I want to admit this in a big way. There was a period after I got out of college. There was a period where it was probably like 4 or 5 years where I decided that I did know everything, and I did know that how I was going to get my pop off, and I knew how I was going to build everything. And I literally failed so big and so hard. It was devastating.
Right.
And it was because I had the answers and I knew what I was doing, and I was going to go out and I was going to do this, and I failed so big. So it's actually, I'm thinking about that as you say it. Like that was, I made that mistake that a lot of us make in trying to control the flow rather than giving way to it.
And then that course adjustment was made, and you were put back on the path, right? And like, try again. You're going to get this.
Exactly. And then it feels good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, let's be honest. If you ever get to the point, and you're a prime example of what happened to you, if you think you know everything, if you think you've learned everything and you got it all, you're done. I mean, that's
done.
it. That's as high as you can get.
Done.
And is that where you want to be? No, right?
Right. But why don't we? How do we rewire our mind to understand that? How do we become? How do we get to this level of understanding? How do we do that?
We speak to people like you.
Exactly.
Oh man, well, I speak to I hang out with people like you.
Hey,
appreciate
and
it.
it's an everyday thing. I feel like it's hard to look at things in like a broad perspective. It's like a wake up every day and all right, if I try to start to think this way, no, that'll put me down, or that'll take me this direction when I want to go this direction. Like, I mean, so it's like it's an everyday process, man. And I mean, I feel like a strong mental health game. We talk about this all the time too. A strong mental health game and positivity is always going to lead you in the right direction.
Yes, sir. Mindset, man. All in the mind. Absolutely.
It really is. But something I really want to talk to you about, because I myself, I never had the courage to try out or even pursue this, but one of my dreams growing up was always to go to Juilliard. And man, you got it. You were there. I was so happy to read this, preparing for this interview, because I was in choir, so I wanted to go there for male vocals.
Music.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you were there, bro. Like, what was that like?
Yeah. Juilliard. It's interesting. My piano teacher is a Juilliard pianist, so I actually get to feel that Juilliard music kind of environment a lot.
Yes.
There are people that love the sound of their instrument. There are people that love the system, and I'm just understanding the system and how it works.
Right.
But like, it's like if you grow flowers, right? Like you love science, you love sun and water and understanding how the soil and the nutrients work and all of that, right? When it comes to the environment in Juilliard, there are people that absolutely love, in my opinion, the mechanics of creating sound and creating music and creating harmonies and creating orchestral pieces that move us. Just recently, I'm understanding how amazing that opportunity was.
Right.
That I was able to be in that environment around such world-renowned artists. When I was there, I was young.
Yeah.
And I was paying attention.
Yeah.
I was paying attention, but I was not taking it all in.
Right.
I was so young, man. I just got out of high school. I was a baby. I didn't understand the magnitude of the opportunity. But to answer your question, it was amazing, man. It was amazing. I'm trying to find the words. It was great. I mean, it was super hard.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
It's a conservatory, so 13-hour days. You know, you get in at 9 a.m., you work out, you condition, then you have fundamentals in whatever discipline, being, mask or stage combat or
Mm-hmm.
text or breathing. And then in the afternoon, you have acting session, 3-hour acting sessions where you watch scenes, study scenes, perform scenes, talk about it, repeat. And then in the evening, after dinner, you come back and you actually rehearse. You take all of the stuff you worked on all day,
Oh,
and then you
wow.
rehearse the material to do a play.
Yeah.
And then you present the play. You present a play every 3 months.
Wow.
Wow.
So
So,
you get good fast.
yeah, seriously.
Um,
I was like, this is more like a lifestyle than a
Right,
school.
like
yeah,
Like, this whole thing, like, you're literally diving straight in. That's awesome.
it's hard. It's hardcore.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hardcore.
It
so,
sounds like it.
dude, where does Jay find time to meet the soulmate, the love of his life? Like, how does that even happen? Like everything you're just
Got lucky
describing, I'm
again,
like,
bro.
how does that,
I got lucky again. So it was a Juilliard thing. So one of the Juilliard dancers was my buddy, and he had a roommate. And we went out, and he supposedly knew they were roommates. Yeah, my roommate, my buddy roommate, and my girl's roommate knew each other somehow.
okay.
And so it was through dance. I mean, dancers are tight. I mean, you think actors are tight? Like, the dance community is tight.
It's
Like,
like,
everybody
hell
knows
yeah.
everybody, and it's just immediate trust. It's like, if you're a dancer, I trust you 100%. It doesn't matter if you're a scam artist. I trust you. You're a dancer? Okay, great.
Like, bet.
And so you can build pretty quickly. You can build
Right.
pretty quickly. So we hung out, and my wife is an incredible artist, and so we talk about art. We make art. We live art.
Yes.
We learn from art. So it's a great partnership.
Again, just one of those things where things happen for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, I feel like, and it's amazing to
Absolutely.
hear. And I want to talk about that because you are such a rounded artist, you and your wife. I mean, actor, dancer, musician, like all these filmmaker, all these things that you do, you kind of bring it all to the table. So I want to talk about GB Group Creative because I feel like this is a really important thing that you started, especially for people who are trying to get into the industry, because it sounds
Yes.
like everything involved from the photography. I forgot photographer. The guy's like a renowned photographer.
Right.
Just
My,
everything.
thank you.
But like all these things that you do with these companies within this company are all to help people, inspire people, and get people out
That's
there
right.
to chase the dream, right? So talk
Yes,
about that a lot,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah. So you guys ask great questions. My goodness. Woo.
Well,
So
we're crazy, but we try to be a little
you-
informed,
Come on, crazy ant, maybe. So macro, it's all the same thing, like you said. It's all about helping you tap into your creative flow and build from there. So it's all one, right? On a micro, the evolution naturally happened because, like I needed a job and I needed to eat, right?
Right.
So you take a step at a time, right? So I went to film school and I learned how to use a camera. And my wife was trying to sell t-shirts, so she was like, hey, could you take some photos? And I was like, no, I don't really want to take photos of like t-shirts. That's not really inspiring.
Right.
But I know how to use a camera, so okay. And then you don't have to pay anybody.
Right.
Then I just kind of started doing that, and I fell in love with it, right? So that was the natural progression there. But then you start exploring with the medium, and you're like, oh, I like the storytelling of it. I like the emotion of it. I like the movement of it. And then that grows. In regards to starting a company, well, so my wife was teaching, and I helped her tremendously with her dance process and some performances. She was doing some really, really tough material about, I would say, 13 years ago with a company out of Vancouver. And she said, Jay, I need you to help me, right? So I started training her in acting fundamentals, and that enhanced her dance. And then she said, hey, listen, Jay, I'm out here teaching, with all these young people, and they need your help as well. Like, they do the moves, but we don't understand the story. We don't understand the emotion, all the stuff that you were helping me with. So then that turned into this huge tour that we did for about 6 years, where we flew around the U.S. To different communities, and we taught these workshops, acting for dancers, to help young dancers enhance their performance. And then after we did that, I think again I had just finished film school, and then my wife was like, "Well, what if we then show them how to do the dance on camera?" And then that led to something else, and it was just an evolution of trying to give more. Honestly, it was just, okay, we've taught them this, they've learned that. What else can we teach them? And we're still doing the same thing. Like now, our students are older, so now the young people that started with us at 13, 14, 15 are now 21. They're now starting out into building their careers. So now we're building programming to try to help them with stuff like this, try to help them get to that next level and begin to build. So does that answer your question? I think it's,
Yeah. No, it's beyond inspiring, because here are two people, young people themselves, trying to launch their careers and start their careers and busting their asses off, and still yet have that mindset of let's help other people at the
Right.
same time. Let's help other people who need to learn as well. So while you're trying to build your craft and build your career and your lives, your focus is also helping others, and that is beyond inspiring.
Right.
Man.
It's like also
well,
what you're.
well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Logan. No, go ahead, Logan.
I was just gonna say it's also like you're taking what you just learned like a week ago and then teaching it to someone else, because it's all about passing on what you just
That's it,
learned.
man.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And listen, I don't want to act like I am like, listen, it is selfish as well. Hold on here.
Hold on.
Because like one of my mentors, I don't know if it was John Maxwell or Tony Robbins. If you want to create wealth, right, you have to add value to other people. So
yes,
as much as, it's about helping people, I still had a dream of being successful financially. So I don't want you to think that, no clothes on my back, I will walk around naked and give everything.
Right. No.
There are benefits
Exactly.
to helping a lot of people
Hell
as
yeah.
well.
Oh no, my friend, trust us. We own a company too. We have a production company, and we're doing kind of stuff. We know all too well the importance of, while we can help people, we can also make a little money.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's a win-win. So it's both. It's a balance, and it's a counterbalance of all of those things.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That is definitely it, man. Okay, so let's talk about, for anybody who doesn't know, you kind of big theater guy. You performed extensely throughout in the country and abroad in theater, and then make the jump to television. First of all, let's talk about, how was that? Was it going from theater and performing big and loud and to the back?
Yes.
Was that
Yes.
jump to television a difficult move for you, or what?
Man, Dustin, you know, man. Loud to the back of the theater.
That's it.
It's tough. It was tough. It's a tough transition. And I think a lot of theater actors, we struggle when it comes over to film and television because it is so small. And the camera in theater, like you were saying, Dustin, you kind of need to push it out to the back row, right? In film and television, the camera comes to you. And captures the moments and the thoughts. So you don't have to push it all. You just have to think it, and the camera captures it. So it's a very, 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 very different process. And I don't feel like we talk about it a lot. I don't think he's an actor. Well, is he a film actor, television actor, a theater actor? I don't think we talk about the distinction, and it's a big distinction.
Exactly.
I was lucky after I got out of film school. Well, first off, I had the experience of film school to kind of understand that medium.
Right.
And then I did a couple of short films. Like I straight up just tried different techniques, failed mistakes on these little short films. And then I would go back and watch myself and say, oh, that was way too big. Bring it back. And then I would try it a little smaller. Then I would try a little smaller. And just trying to find the right size of the moments, of the thoughts, of the nuance, of the color, And that's kind of where I'm building now. So going into season two of All Rise, I'm going to probably start trying to play with the size a little bit more,
Mm.
and kind of now as young Luke, becomes more confident in his understanding of the law and in the fight for justice, he might get a little bigger.
There
And
you go.
so, um, again, just exploring and trying to get better,
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, so you brought up All Rise, and we're going to dive into that because, like,
Pshong.
huge fan of the show. By the way, just I mean,
Oh
I
man.
tell everybody I know to watch it.
Yes.
I just think it's
Oh,
absolutely brilliant. The cast is phenomenal. The storylines
phenomenal.
and the writing are phenomenal, and I think the fact that you
Yes.
guys are addressing so much of what's going on in society today,
Yes.
and doing it in a way that's informative, I think that's huge, and we need more shows like that, in my opinion. So I guess first of all, when you first jumped in, did you realize you were going to be amongst a bunch of superheroes and supervillains?
Right.
I mean, you've got the MCU and the Flash represented. I was like, oh man, Jay is
we
all up in the world,
Like,
right? Like,
damn.
we do have a lot of superheroes, don't we?
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, Simone is old Misty Knight, and you
Daredevil,
got,
Simone,
yeah,
yeah.
dude, it's
But
like
yeah,
all up in
Jessica,
it.
yes, that's a good point. We don't ever talk about that enough.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's the first thing.
We should
Look.
do that.
I'm a huge
That's a
comic
good
geek,
idea.
so that was what drew me to the show to begin with. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to tune in and watch this, and then it was just brilliant to see everybody kind of play out the stairwell conversations and the back and forth that all of
Mm.
these characters have. Everything about the show is fantastic. I want to talk about your storyline a lot though, because Luke from episode one is like, here's
Mm.
this guy who saves everybody, right, and is kind of like thrust
Mm.
into the spotlight and a hero, if you will, and then forced to deal with what that's like, and the pressure of that comes with that. Which was really interesting. But what I really want to get into is the storyline that's been dealt with domestic violence. I just think that
Mm.
you and Emily's storyline and Jessica Camacho are just phenomenal. So I really want to talk about that. And then another episode that I really want to talk about and dive into is the episode where Luke is confronted by the police and handcuffed and basically put down to the ground just because he's
Mm-hmm.
jogging, man. And like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of an impact. Those are the stories that I'm talking about that are so relevant today that need to be discussed. So let's talk about the domestic violence first. I just think you and Jessica are just absolutely killing it. The way Luke approaches it. By the way,
Mm.
Luke is just way too nice a guy. I mean, like some of that stuff, Emily is doing to him. It's like, step up, man. Tell her that ain't okay. Like, what's that
you
like?
know,
What's that been like, man?
we laugh about that a lot, actually. Jessica Camacho is a phenomenal actress. And so it's a pleasure working with her. And she has such a great process and she cares so much.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's evident in her work. But, we wanted it to be authentic and we wanted it to be real. And, forgiveness is a big word,
Yes.
especially when it comes to domestic violence. And it's a word that I kind of rooted in that, when we make mistakes, when guys, abuse women, and when moms abuse young boys and all that kind of stuff, um, I I like to talk about forgiveness, because if someone has treated you bad, what are you going to do to move forward? Are you
Mm-hmm.
going to forgive that person and stay with them? Or are you going to forgive that person and kind of detach yourself? And for me, I enjoy building the characters and the relationships from that standpoint,
Mm.
because, and again, you're going in asking questions rather than, oh, he's a villain, he beat her, he's a bad guy, your ex is a bad guy. And I think that's where it becomes flat.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as Luke says, okay, you've been abused, what was that like?
Right.
Was he a bad guy? Like, why did he do that? Did he have trouble communicating? What was his background? And then as soon as you start asking these questions, the nuance comes and the depth comes. And I think that is what Jessica and I were able to capture a little bit, because Luke is young. He doesn't understand, where she's coming from. She doesn't
Right.
understand, like, I like you, you like me. Let's just do this. What's the problem? Why are you being hesitant?
Right.
He doesn't understand, you know? And so I think asking those questions is where we started. And again, Jessica is just so great and cares so much, you know?
Oh, I think the back and forth between the two y'all and the chemistry is just unreal. And yeah, dude, that scene where she loses it in the kitchen, man. Oh my god,
Oh,
dude.
it's beautiful.
So crazy, so crazy. But I have a little theory, and I just got to say, because I feel like you said Luke is young and he's
Hmm.
human, man. This guy's
Yes.
trying to learn and come up, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. And am I wrong or am I right that there might be a little interaction there, a little play between Samantha and Luke? Because I feel
Oh!
like that every time Emily gives him a little, distance, Samantha is there, and
Oh!
now, I gotta be honest, I'm gonna be upset at Luke if that's where it's going. But am I wrong? Do I
You
see
know?
that, or do I not see that?
So it's interesting. Obviously, no spoilers. No spoilers.
Right, right.
But
Don't worry, nobody's
you
listening.
have
No.
you you have that inner writer, man. You've got that inner. You know how to create that conflict. You know, this is the
Absolutely.
thing. It's like, what do you want someone to do? Like, we all want to be loved, man, and we all want attention, right? So it's like,
Exactly.
Emily, if you're not there for Luke, what do you want the guy to do, right?
Exactly, exactly. All right, no
So
spoilers, but okay,
no
I'm just gonna.
spoilers. No
All right.
spoilers.
But I think that's the beauty about this show. It's so personable. Everybody can connect with it. I mean, especially
Yeah.
everybody's having these inner conflicts that they can relate
Yes.
to with each one of these characters, and especially your character. Like I myself, I'm a younger fellow, and so I mean, going through this and trying to figure out my way in life, like yeah, I completely
Mm,
understand and can relate to what your character would be going through.
yeah. And he likes her,
Oh yeah.
but like, is this someone that I can build with right now?
Right,
Does she
exactly.
like me? Like, is she available? Like, every time I do something, she equates it to her old boyfriend, her ex. Like,
Right.
is that what I need in my life? And like you said, Dustin, taking care of yourself first, loving yourself first, that's such a mature, it takes us so long to evolve
Yes.
to that thinking,
It
right?
does.
Like,
Yep.
uh
Good stuff,
so
man. So, now I'm
yeah,
even
you
more
guys are
pumped
great.
for season two.
Right.
And
Season two is coming.
so okay, so yeah, let's talk about the other scenario, the other storyline, because not only is Luke dealing with this distance and the domestic violence and everything that's trying to go on with Emily, but then he's got this other stuff going on with he's a young black man in a professional
Mm,
world trying to advance his career, trying to make the
yes.
moves and do the right thing. The guy's out jogging and he gets nailed by some white cops, man. Like
Yeah.
talk about that. I think that storyline is so important because you guys had another episode too where it was a misunderstanding. The cop tased a guy and took him down because he tripped, and it
Right.
looked like one thing but wasn't another thing. And then in the instance with Luke, it was what it was. The cops were a bunch of assholes, and were taking him down and being what they were. Talk about that a little bit and how the show addresses those storylines, and what was that like for you? It being involved in that storyline because I mean, coming from your background, coming from a rough city, coming from where you come from, and then being in an interracial relationship yourself, what was that storyline like as your approach to it?
Yeah. So when I started developing Luke, it was very important for me to understand why Luke does what he does. You know, why does he want to be a lawyer? You know, why does he want to be a prosecutor? What, why is the law important to him?
Hmm.
Because I feel like as a young person from, from West Philly, I didn't know anything about the law. I understood foster care. I understood juvie. I understood, hey, Binky just got in trouble, got locked up, went upstate, you
Right.
know, but I never understood how the law works to make that process happen.
Right.
Right. So I think the first thing that I had to do was say, okay, why does Luke want to be a lawyer so bad? And so I started building this backstory where his brother was did something that he
Hmm.
wasn't supposed to do,
Hmm.
and didn't have the money for bail, and we couldn't afford to get him the right law, the right help he needed, and then ended up in prison and getting really fucked up in prison
Mm.
mentally,
Right.
right? And so that is where I started. I started developing his drive to use the law. You dig me?
Oh yeah.
So I think macro wise, yes, we have a lot of issues with systemic, you know, systemic macro, like, is that white or is that black? You know what I
Right,
mean? And
Right.
so
right.
it's a lot of it's a lot of that. But what we need to do is figure out how to utilize the system so that we can argue about gray.
Exactly.
And
Yes. Oh,
so
yes.
so I think I mean it's so complicated and so complex, but I think that Luke is going to equip himself with the tools that he needs to fight and argue gray. Now, black is black, white is white. Like, we can't argue about that. But if we all educate ourselves and grow and evolve, I think we can start talking about gray.
Mm,
And I think in that middle ground is where change comes and where change happens, and where we get improvement. So specifically to those storylines, I really loved playing all of that stuff
Mm-hmm.
because I got to ask questions, in that gray area. You know, it wasn't just white and it wasn't just black. It wasn't just I'm pissed off because you took me down,
right.
right? It was that, but then he's also like, man, this has got to change. How can we make this change? And then he goes to Judge Carmichael and he's like, listen, I just got taken down. Like, I'm in the courtroom looking at this stuff,
Right.
and like, I was the guy that was like the criminal for a moment there. It blew his mind. And I think, enjoying that nuance and asking those questions is really what it's about. So I enjoyed it. Um, it is really, really, really tough stuff right now.
It
Yeah.
is.
Um,
But
I think.
I
Mhm.
just think what you nailed it with what you said. That I think the show addresses the gray, and that's the area it
Mm,
starts conversation because much like the characters do, much like Luke does, I think when you watch this show, especially if you watch it with your family or you're watching it in an environment with a group of people, it's a topic of conversation. It forces you to ask questions and
mm,
say, "What if? What if I was in that situation? Or what if this went down with somebody I knew?" And to have shows that spark conversation like that is so necessary. And
it's a big
gray,
deal.
I love that explanation, gray, because Logan and I talk about it extensively all the time. It's either black or white and no in between anymore. And there
That's right.
needs to
That's
be
right.
in between.
That's right. That's right. But in order to get in between, whew, you have to change. You got to
Exactly.
Yep.
give up your vantage point, and kind of you got to see it from this vantage point, and that's tough, man.
It is tough.
I know everybody's just so set in their ways, and I don't
Hmm.
know if it's because they're scared to ask questions or they don't even give a crap to ask questions in the first place. But it's just like we need to have something to start the conversation so we can all start gelling well and living in society together. Because there's no reason for all this hate. I mean, we talked about it earlier with the mental health thing. Like, there's no
Yeah,
reason for all this hate and
it's
negativity
true.
and all this
It's
stuff
true.
that's literally bringing everyone in society down. So there's no
It's true.
point to have that because you don't want to have the conversation. Like, just have the
Logan,
conversation so we can talk about it.
you are so right. And this is where I feel so grateful to be an artist.
Mm,
Exactly.
yes.
I feel so grateful. Same with you guys. You're in the media. You're creating content. You're creating this content and facilitating the movement forward. You are the change. Like, I feel like this is what we can offer to the fight.
Exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we feel the same way, man. Like I said, people like yourself and your wife, and the people that you surround yourself with, and the shows that you've been involved with, you're using your platform to put out a positive message and to have
Exactly.
people start a conversation and talk. And we just need so much more of that, man.
Well, let's do it, man. Let's keep doing it, man.
Absolutely. Oh, dude, this has been just an outstanding
Seriously,
conversation, man.
every week that if you want to come on, bro, and just have a conversation, like seriously, this might be. It's definitely the most personal we've gotten on the podcast. But like seriously, if you ever want to come back on the podcast just to talk about industry news, talk about social rights, talk about anything and everything, bro, open
Let's do it,
invite.
man.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it. You guys are wonderful. Logan, Dustin, thank you so much
Of
for having
course.
me on the show,
Of
man. You guys are
course.
great, and I look forward to listening to the episode.
Oh,
Dude,
dude.
but before you go,
Yes, yes.
what we like to do at the end of each interview is have our guests leave a little piece of advice for the up and comers trying to break into the entertainment industry. And what pitfalls would you say to try to avoid?
Do you guys have a lot of actors or musicians or like
Everything,
Yeah,
man.
I tell you
everything?
what. Yeah, it's actors, people who want to be directors and filmmakers
Yeah.
behind the camera. It's a little bit of everything, man.
Okay.
Yeah, good luck. Good
See,
luck.
see though, it
No,
goes
good
right
luck.
back to the beginning of the. He's educating himself before he answers. That's why.
It's
Ask
right.
questions.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yes, ask questions. Exactly. Well, I don't want to. Yeah. Let me think. I would say going back to the mental work.
Mm.
I would say I have a buddy who's getting ready to direct his first film,
Hmm.
and he's not at the beginning of his career. He's kind of like mid-career,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks around and he feels like people aren't supporting his vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, we talk about this all the time. And the issue is nobody really cares and nobody will really support your vision, sadly.
Right.
So it's really about you developing within yourself the vision of who you are, who you want to be, and just executing.
Mm.
And then once that process starts, then it catches.
Right.
And then people are all of a sudden like, oh yeah, you're the great director,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it starts within yourself. So that's what I would say.
That's deep.
Deep.
Like
That's-
that's so damn
Yeah.
good, bro.
Don't be surprised if you end up on our social media as a quote.
Yes.
You'll be there. And speaking
guys
of,
are
very
awesome,
lastly, tell everybody where they can follow you, man, because we definitely want everybody to follow you
Hell
and
yeah.
be paying attention to you, man.
You know what? I hang out on Instagram, IG at @JAlexBrinson.
Yes, great dance videos, by the way, you and the missus. So I'm loving those, man.
You guys are awesome, man. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Absolutely, man. Take care and just best wishes, and I'm excited to see where you go, man. Appreciate you.
All rise. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
So damn good, bro.
Wow.
That was so damn good.
just-
Like I talked about, that's probably the most personal, at least for me anyway, that I've ever gotten on the podcast, and just have that open dialogue. That's what it's all about.
It really is, and just the story of the stuff that he's overcome. And it's always amazing to me to find people who are going through a struggle,
Right.
but want to help someone
Exactly.
else at the same time. We need more people like that in the world, man.
Dude, he's so freaking epic.
Woo.
If you guys are not following this man, please go follow him because he is an absolute inspiration, if you couldn't tell by the interview.
right. I'm inspired.
Yeah, dude, I'm ready to go do some shit. But thank you again, Jay Alex, for coming on the show. All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment, brought to you by the one and only Jason Cachavada. Man, I'm sorry. I know your name, I promise. Our podcast producer is freaking awesome, killing it each and every week. We appreciate him rocking and rolling. And the top 5 this week is top 5 medical shows.
Woo!
I know, man.
I mean, this is like, obviously, I knew what your number one was.
Well,
gonna
yeah.
be. There was no question it was going to be number one. So
You know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I mean, besides your number one, you kind of showed your age a little bit.
I did.
I mean, there's a lot of good content, though. All of these things are really good if you haven't checked out any of these shows. But let's dive into it, man. My number 5 is Royal Pains, NBC Universal's Royal Pains. Such a good show, man, especially the dynamic between, that doctor that starts doing house calls like out in LA and how it wasn't a thing anymore. I mean, house calls aren't a thing with doctors anymore, so making it for rich people and him working with his brother and, of course, a possible love interest. I mean, it was such a good show that had a nice little run, so definitely Royal Pains is on my list.
Oh, yeah, without doubt. Number 5, and okay, I'm showing my age a little bit, but here we go anyway. Saint Elsewhere. Oh my gosh, y'all. Saint Elsewhere was such a huge medical drama when it aired. And I don't think people understand or realize the amount of people that were on that show or came off that show. Obviously, William Daniels and Bonnie Bartlett, who we had the great pleasure of interviewing and talking to them about it. But Howie Mandel, Corbin Burnson, Denzel Washington, just so many people were on that show that launched into these huge careers. That should tell you, and it was like Emmy galore. So that should tell you how good the show was.
Yeah.
But also had a nice little mix of, I think, all the successful shows, I think, especially if you're going to be into these heavy categories like this, need that levity. They need that comedy here and there, or the love stories or whatever. And I think St. Elsewhere did a really good job with that as well. So number 5 on my list, St. Elsewhere.
Boom. Number 5. My number 4, I mean, Grace spinoff, so had to put it on there. And I love Kate Walsh. She is a freaking underrated actress, and deserves to be in so many more things.
Most definitely.
Just saying. And she is a part of America 2.0 podcast. If you have not listened to that podcast before, be sure to check it out. But Private Practice, talking about Private Practice, the spinoff of Grey's Anatomy. Of course, Kate Walsh, Benjamin Bratt, so many great actors. Obviously, the cameos from the Grey's cast popping in and out. I mean, of course, Patrick Dempsey.
Who?
Patrick Dempsey popping up. Everybody knows. I love him.
Patrick the Hair Dempsey.
Yes, that's right. But Private Practice, my number 4.
Woo! That's a good one.
I know.
It's a good one.
It got hot in here.
Oh, it did. Speaking of, now all the ladies are going to agree that this also had some hotties, and the men will agree too, because I'm talking about Juliana Margulies. But ER, not the comedy, the drama.
Yes.
ER. George Clooney, Juliana Margulies, Anthony Edwards, Linda Cardellini at one point. Just so many amazing people on this drama. And the reason that Grey's is still on the air. They set out to beat ER's record for the longest running medical drama on TV. They did, by the way.
They did.
But, I mean, come on. Once Juliana Margulies left and George Clooney left and Anthony Edwards left, and then the only one around the original was Noah Wyle.
Yeah.
And, I love Noah Wyle, but he just was not carrying the show by himself.
It wasn't the same.
But it was a great show. Again, it's just that nice mix of everything.
Yeah.
Drama, comedy, love, it just, that ER.
Right.
Check it out. George Clooney and Juliana Margulies, that should be enough right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And Goose, Anthony Edwards. He died in Top Gun, but was on ER.
Oh, man. My number 3 goes to House. This one is a huge, I feel like cult phenomena, really. I mean, you got Omar Epps, Mr. Hugh Laurie himself. I mean, just a badass actor. And a Brit. Not a lot of people know.
Yes.
I mean, they can do it all. Brits can do it all. But, I mean, so many good people came out from this show. I mean, Cal Penn, such an amazing actor that I honestly loved. Harold and Kumar, obviously, but then left acting and worked for the Obamas. That's such a twist turn.
Seriously.
But such a good show, especially, him being just a phenomenal doctor in itself, but then also battling his own addictions at the same time. And it's a great show if you guys have not checked it out. House. I believe it's on Amazon Prime right now, so boom.
I believe that's correct. My number 3 is the original Doogie Howser MD.
Yeah.
Not the reboot, not the remake, not the revisit, not the Disney Plus thing that we talked about in industry news. The original Doogie Howser MD with my man, Neil Patrick Harris, Max Casella, Lisa Dean Ryan. So many epic people on this show, and it literally, launched Neil Patrick Harris into uber stardom.
Yeah.
Just an amazing show. Also, I feel responsible for launching blogs. For anybody who doesn't remember the show, because you're not old like I am, it would start off and end with him writing into his journal on his computer. Basically a blog. He writes what was going on in his life. That was the whole Doogie Howser MD's little journal that he kept. So really, I think is what knocked off and launched the idea of these blogs of keeping track of your life and But, I mean, come on, guys. Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
There is no Barney. There is no all of the epicness without Doogie Howser MD. So There you go.
Exactly. Great pick, man. Great freaking pick. My number 2 goes to Scrubs, a more comedic relief when it comes to the medical shows. I'm a huge Zach Braff fan, so I mean, it only makes sense. And I mean, so many people came out of this show too. And Young Dave Franco was on it. Elizabeth Banks. I mean,
Yes.
so many epicness, epic. I binge watched all of the 9 seasons on. I think it was on Netflix or Hulu, one of the two. But it just definitely a more comedic relief. Of course, you have some dramatic moments, but definitely a more comedic relief when it comes to doctors just trying to learn the way, because really it's such a dark kind of field to get into. But I mean, their intentions are always good and trying to help people out. But it's definitely something that I think more people should watch to kind of understand like doctors' thought process when it comes to like helping people. So yeah, Scrubs.
Yes, I agree. I enjoyed it. I'm a huge Zach Braff fan. I thought the show was just fantastic, and it's got the other Becky.
Yeah, right. The other Becky.
The other Becky. Okay. Anyway, my pick. Let's see, for number 2. Now I'm really showing my age here. MASH. Yes, MASH. Alan Alda. MASH. Hands down, in my opinion, one of the best shows ever in television history.
Yeah.
Ever. Guys, it started as a movie, became a TV series. All right. Donald Sutherland way back in the day. I mean, it was just insane how popular the movie was. But then became the TV series. And basically, this little short Korean, not even war. Remember, they didn't even call it a war. It was a police conflict. Lasted like 13 years on TV, even though the whole entire conflict was like, a couple of years. But here's the crazy thing, guys. The series finale of this show, if you want to know how popular this show is and why I love it so much, it aired in 1983. It is still, all these years later, 1983, y'all, it is the most watched television show in history. 105,970,000 people tuned in to watch that
wow.
finale. It is the only thing above it in all of the most watched shows ever. Super Bowl, 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 MASH. And then Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. So it is literally, out of the top 25 most watched shows ever, the only actual show that's not a Super Bowl that is in it. So it holds the record for the most watched TV show in history. Oh, can you even imagine? Now you're struggling for 3 million viewers. That thing,
Yeah,
105 million viewers. What the fuck?
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, dude, it's insane. But I mean, like I said, Mike Farrell, Alan Alda, just Loretta Swit, the amount of people that came off that show and the importance of that show and what it meant to people, it's just, it doesn't surprise me that it's as popular even today as it was back then.
Agreed.
So my number 2 pick, MASH.
Boom. Of course, I've been hinting at it the whole time. My number 1 goes to the one and only Grey's Anatomy. Everybody knows I love Grey's. Everybody knows.
Do you? No.
I fucking love Patrick Dempsey. And I love Shonda Rhimes, too. I mean, she's an epic creator and writer and showrunner, creator, all these good things. Ellen Pompeo. I mean, just who hasn't been on Grey's Anatomy? I mean, freaking, like I said, Patrick Dempsey, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, what did you call him? Robert Dean Morgan or some shit?
What?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
No. I always say Jeffrey Dean Anderson because it's Richard Dean Anderson, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
There you go.
And
I mean, Jesse Williams, Sandra Oh, like so many, Eric Dane, so many great people have been on this show. And I mean, it's crazy that there's only 3 original cast members left and possibly only 2 after the 2 upcoming seasons, because we were talking about a little bit earlier on a different show that it might continue on without Ellen Pompeo. So that would be very interesting to see.
I think it would be a mistake.
I think it would be too.
I love all the other actors. I'm sure their storylines would be great, but can you have a Grey's Anatomy without Grey?
Yeah.
I just don't think you can do it.
I don't think so too.
It is a great show, though. I'm just a little story for you. The very first episode I ever saw was not the first episode. I
Oh.
didn't. I came in. I watched it. They had it on after the Super Bowl one season, and I forget what season it was, but it was the episode where the guy had the unexploded bomb inside him,
Oh, shit,
and
yeah.
they had to do surgery on it and everything to try to remove it, and everything was great. And then all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, boom!
Yeah,
It explodes,
you're
and
like,
everything
"Damn."
is just like. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I need to be watching this show. And so just one of those epic moments where, and great episode to have on after a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right?
That's all I'm saying.
Like-
So, good job. My number one is the new, soon to be, I think will one day eventually pass Grey's as that record holder. Everybody said it couldn't happen to ER, but it did, so maybe it can happen to Grey's too. I'm talking about Amy Holden Jones's epic masterpiece, The Resident. The Resident. Guys, it's a fantastic medical drama. I'm trying to get J-Lo on it. I'm trying to get Lil Cam on it. It's got a brilliant cast. Matt Zuckery, Team Logan, for all you Gilmore Girls fans out there, Logan, and for all you, The Good Wife, come on now. Come on, Carriagos, that guy, Matt Zuckery, he's so fantastic. Emily Van Camp, obviously. Bruce Greenwood, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Just Jane Leeves, Morris Chestnut. Like a shit ton of awesome people. Corbin Brinson from my number 5, St. Elsewhere, on this show as Emily Van Camp's dad. And really hardcore drug line story and suicide story and just but the whole idea of this show, it started basically to kind of point out and highlight the problems with the healthcare system in America. And they deal with the corporate, like how hospitals are now corporate run and it's all about money as opposed to the patients and all these kind of dilemmas on top of all of the other storylines that you've got going on with the people and individual stuff. And it's phenomenal writing. It's a phenomenal cast. It's great drama. It's funny. Guys, you got to get on it. You got to get on it. We've had numerous guests on the show that have been on both Grey's Anatomy and The Resident. We always like to poke back and forth and fun, but it's a great show.
It is.
That's all I'm saying. My number 1, The Resident.
The Resident. Oh, man. Great top 5 segment. We want to know your top 5 medical shows. What are they? Be sure to comment below on the podcast platforms in the comment section, or be sure to comment below on the official YouTube show or on the YouTube episode, because we just want to know. We love the fan interaction.
Absolutely.
It rocks, man. It rocks. Now heading over to box office. Recap. Oh, Tenet didn't do as well as the people thought they would.
Nope.
But I predicted it spot on. Tenet came in at number 1, but they predicted around 25. I predicted around 15 to 20, and it got 20.2 million.
There you go.
Look at me being awesome. And number 2 is New Mutants. It came in at 3 million. I predicted 1 to 3. Unhinged came in at number 3 with 1 to 8. I predicted 1 to 2. Bill and Ted Face the Music came in at 773,000. And the SpongeBob movie came in at 345,000.
I got to be honest with you. This whole Sponge on the Run thing, I am shocked.
It's sticking around.
It's still sticking around. I know it's limited as to how many movies are out there, so maybe that's a part of it. But I'm shocked that it's still in the top 5.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. It's pretty interesting. But new movies coming out this week: The Broken Hearts Gallery. And movies you can still go see right now are Tenet, Bill and Ted Face the Music, New Mutants, Unhinged, and The Personal History of David Copperfield, which I heard is pretty good,
yeah,
to be
me
honest
too.
with you. But this week, I think they're predicting Tenet to be around like 5 to 7,000. I'm thinking more like 10 to 15 or million, not 5 to 7,000. 5 to 7 million. I'm predicting around 10 to 15 million, just because a lot of people were talking about it this past week, and it seems to I think it has some legs. Even in the time we're in. The Broken Hearts Gallery, I think, will come in at number 2, but I don't have much faith in it because everybody's going to go see Tenet, and I think it's going to get around 2 to 3 million maybe. And New Mutants, I think it's going to be pushed to 3rd place with around 1 to 2 million. Unhinged to 4th with around 1 to 2. And Bill and Ted Face the Music, I think that is also going to drop below 1 million like it was this week, and I think it's going to be under 500,000. So we'll see, man.
I can't argue
really,
any of that.
Yeah, it's really interesting right now. It's really all up in the air. Now heading over to IMDb Pro top trending segment. You guys know we love this app. Well, the top trending movie by no surprise is Tenet. Makes sense. A lot of people talking about it right now. I really want to see it. The top trending TV show is Cobra Kai.
Yes.
No doubt, like, Netflix has given this thing new life.
Oh, yeah.
And by no surprise, the top trending star is still Chadwick Boseman, of course, after his passing. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening and getting a little crazy on episode 129 of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. We got to thank our guest one more time, Alex Brinson, for coming on the show and just dropping the knowledge, man. It's always good to talk about the gray because we got to get there, man. We got to get there in society.
We do.
Be sure to follow him on all social media platforms. Be sure to follow the company and the podcast on social media platforms. Of course, at Crazy Ant Media and at ItCaf Podcast to follow the podcast. And you guys know you can follow us both individually on social media. Myself, JLo Fantastic, and
Crazy Ant Guy 1970.
That's right. And be sure to listen to this podcast and subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. You can also listen and sometimes watch on YouTube. All the good things, man. Be sure to visit our website, crazyantmedia.com, to just keep up to date with everything we're doing here at Crazy Ant Media. And, of course, to start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear, be sure to click on the merchandise tab and start shopping away, man. Just
absolutely.
Seriously. A lot of good stuff, though. A lot of good stuff on this show. I always love when we talk about the executive stuff because, I mean, with everything so focused on streaming, they're trying to find the best possible people for the job, especially Netflix. Like, I love how they say it's like a competition. It's like a sports team. You have to compete for that point guard position to be the quarterback. If you want to be head of something, you got to prove yourself. Even if you're there, you still got to keep grinding and working your way up to something new and better. And if you get comfortable and if you think you've made it, that's when you're gone.
That's it. And another thing, too, I really enjoy talking about the executives, too, because it seems like every week we're talking about that a woman has been put in charge, that a woman has taken over a department or is leading. And I love hearing that. I love talking about that. I think it's been far too long in the making. I think we need fresh eyes. We need a woman's point of view, and we need capable, talented, creative women to be running these things. So the more and more we report on that, I always love talking about that.
Agreed.
Yeah, and of course the interview. Alex,
dude, man. So good. So good.
Watch All Rise, people. Yeah. Watch All Rise.
Seriously. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. And of course, talking about the only O that matters, Oprah!